Next, let's talk about the look of our buttons. So our links right now are just pretty much text. But what we can do is we can make them look like an actual button. So we're going to go ahead and start stylizing this, beginning with just the A tag. So I'm going to go into my style sheet here, and I'm going to do the A tag and open up my squiggly brackets. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that you are giving it a good background color. You're making sure that it has some space to really look like a button. So I'm going to just start with the background color, and I'm going to go back to my actual color scheme. So thinking about what your color scheme actually is, I'm going to go my not for web and look at that color scheme and grab a color off of that. So I'm actually going to grab this purple. So mine is 6B4AB5. So I'm going to go ahead and go here and go 6A4AB5 and grab that color. Okay, so that puts that on here. I'm then going to go ahead and make my text have a color of white since I'm putting it on a dark background. And I'm going to do a text, text decoration of none to get rid of the underline. And then you can see that it's got that background color, but it doesn't have that spacing piece to it. It doesn't give it the look of an actual button. So I'm going to go ahead and add something from my CSS. So if I think about it, what's actually controlling the space around it, right? Thinking again about that box model, what would push the space around it, but expand the background color? The background color of your box or your content goes all the way to the border, but it doesn't go into the margin. The margin is a clear invisible space on the outside of your box. So if you want to expand the spacing, you're going to add padding. So I'm going to go ahead and go here and add a little bit of padding, maybe let's say like 4 pixels and to all 4 sides, and it's going to get a little bit of space. But then they begin to overlap, and this can become an issue. So when we're looking at how to actually display things and how to make them so that they do or do not overlap, you have an option. One of those options is called display. But in there, you've got like, is it a list? Is it a flexible item? Is it going to be inline where the height and width properties have no effects? Is it going to be block where we pop it to a new line each time? Is it going to be inline block where they try and put them side by side but space them out? You've got lots of options. And if we go to our W3 Schools website, there's a whole display property and there's a ton of different options here. So for instance, you can see like how things are displayed when they are a paragraph or a div style and how they get displayed together and what they're looking like. So you can see like hello world, which is the example number 1, has no display. So it just displays it in the middle of it, right? There's none there. And you can see that. The next one is going to be right here, for example, 2, and it's got an inline, and so it's putting it inline in the sentence. Block is going to push it to the next line, and inline block is going to push it but give it space around it. So you have these different display properties. So we're going to go ahead and try these out. So let's try display block, for instance, and you'll see that it will give it some equal spacing, but also make it go to the side of the page. If we do inline block, you're going to see that it gives it some space and actually doesn't let them overlap. We could then give them some spacing on top and bottom of them, if you think about it, by adding a margin to the top of, let's say, or actually to the bottom of, let's say, 2 pixels. And you'll see that that will give it a little bit of space, making them look cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then I'm going to go preview it in my browser as well. So going back to my browser, refresh it, see what it looks like, and those are some good looking buttons.